Hey everyone, welcome back to ACT Math Quick Hits, where you can make this one small change to improve your ACT scores. It doesn't cost you any money, it's real quick, doesn't cost you much time. You're going to learn some different math concepts and different ACT test taking strategies. There's the rundown of the ACT, so let's get right back into it. All right, this question here starts talking about triangles and angles, and then it starts to involve a little bit of trig. Not too advanced trig, such as graphing or things like that, but just applying the basic understanding of our trig functions. So it tells us we have an angle with measure alpha, so that looks a little different using that Greek letter there, but it's just some unknown. It tells us that we do have a right triangle, so I'm going to draw a right triangle here for us. A right triangle means one of the angles is 90 degrees. And then I can label that alpha anywhere. So it doesn't matter. I can't use the 90, but I'll just put it down here in the bottom right. So there's my alpha. I don't know the measure of alpha, but I know the sine of alpha is equal to 5 over 13. And I know the tangent of alpha is equal to 5 over 12. So what we have to remember is our trig functions. Sometimes your teachers talk about it being SOHCAHTOA, where the sine of any angle is equal to the opposite over the hypotenuse. And then tangent TOA, the tangent of any angle is equal to the opposite or the adjacent. So because it gives us those values as fractions, we know the opposite and we know the hypotenuse, right? It's 5 over 13. We know the opposite, which again is 5, which makes sense. And then we know the adjacent is 12. So now we can use this to label our triangle. So in reference to our alpha, right, in reference to that angle, the opposite is over here, right? The opposite side. The adjacent is next to it. That's what adjacent means. And then the hypotenuse is always across from the 90-degree angle. So now that I have my triangle labeled, I can just drop in these values. So again, I know my opposite is 5. I know my hypotenuse is 13. And then I know my adjacent is 12, just from my trig function, right? This value, and this value. Okay, so right, there's a whole bunch of setup here, and what does it want to know? It wants to know cosine. So cosine of any angle, cos, is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. Kind of run out of room down here. Now we just do the cosine. So the adjacent, right, is right next to it. So we're going to have 12, and then we know the hypotenuse is 13. So 12 over 13. So we go ahead and look at all of our answer choices here. It looks like they have some square root ones, right? Trying to think that we have to do the Pythagorean theorem, but we don't, right? As long as we understand those trig values. So 12 over 13. Let's see if we can click it right. There we go. We got it. So, all right. Thanks for watching. Again, I know this isn't the most exciting stuff, but remember, your future self sitting there taking the ACT will be happy if you like and subscribe. Thanks, everyone.